Has Hollywood ever knocked on your door with any of your projects?
Um, there was like there was some really brief interest in Wet Moon like years ago as like a TV show, but like nothing ever happened with it. And I never got like any option money or anything like that.
Did you put any work towards trying to get something going, or?
No, I feel like I probably should, but like Oni does some of that. Like they'll shop stuff around. They have people like in house that do that. Um, but like I don't have like an agent like pushing that stuff or anything. I probably should, but because that would be pretty cool. Like at one time, like early on in my career, I was like, it's like I don't want like any media adaptations. I don't want there to be a Wet Moon movie, and like I didn't sign the option agreement with Oni. Like I refused to sign it and stuff like
Oh,
that. And I was like, I'm gonna be like Bill Watterson and not license anything, for like the integrity. But like I don't think I have any integrity anymore, really. And I'm just like, I don't care. If you want to make a Wet Moon movie and like change everything, that's fine. Like I don't want to be involved. Just do whatever you want to do and just give me the paycheck so I can like keep doing my comics that nobody reads. I feel like that's a good trade-off. Like if somebody takes my work and like adapts it into something different, even if it's good, like regardless whether it's good or bad, like in terms of like the quality of the movie or the show, I feel like I don't know. It's like because like at the time early on, like I was like, oh, I don't want to like do that to the characters. Like I don't want to compromise like what the characters are about and like that kind of thing. But like I feel like nowadays I'm I'm like I have more certainty about like what it is that I do, and I don't feel like somebody making a mediocre movie based on one of my stories hurts the work that I did or like hurts me as a person or whatever, like I just don't know if I buy into the concept of like being a sellout or whatever like anymore. I just don't really care. Um so yeah, I would totally let some Hollywood studio make movies of my stuff if they wanted to.
Are you listening out there, Hollywood? Yeah. Alan Moore, who's notorious for being disappointed with his Hollywood experiences, furious with them, I think I could say. He gave the example of Raymond Chandler, the kind of film noir novelist back in the 30s and 40s. He had a bunch of his books made into films, and like a newspaper man or someone came and said, "Doesn't that bother you that they're completely changing it?" And he says, "No, look, come here, come to my library. You see the books here? They're still fine." Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like like you can take their money and make more of those books. Put it toward making more of your own stuff. And I think I feel like that's how my outlook is now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
I
And like I don't know, like I probably wouldn't even watch the movie. I don't think I would want to. So like maybe I'm still like a little precious about my own stuff, but yeah, like I don't think I would even pay attention. Like I would not want to be involved. Like no, I don't want to be a producer. Just do your thing. I'm sure it'll be fine. Just let me cash the checks. All I care about.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see my little dog came in here. Can you see her back there? That's Penny. She's only about 10 pounds. Your cat might be bigger than her.
Yeah, that's about how much he weighs. 10 pounds.
Yeah. So you mentioned doing a couple covers for Marvel, and I'm curious how you liked doing that kind of work as opposed to narrative storytelling.
I very much prefer the narrative stuff. I hate doing covers. I don't like it. Like even for my own stuff, I don't like doing the covers because it's like I don't know. It's the cover. It's like the ambassador of the book, and so there's like this extra pressure on it, all this extra weight. It has to like embody everything that the book is, and I don't like doing that. It's like there's too much pressure on like one image, which I don't like. And you know, some people are great at it, great at covers, but I have a really hard time with it. It's difficult.
Yeah. I was noticing when you first got this most recent Turtles gig, and knowing it was going to be monthly, it seemed like a lot of your tweets were kind of panic toward deadlines and can I do this type tweets. Could you talk a little about the monthly deadline that is comics?
I hate it. I hate it. I think the worst thing for me is, well, like on one hand, it's cool because you get to have something out like every month, you know, something that you can point to and be like, hey, you know, my stuff's out, you know, and it's cool, like as opposed to having, you know, like, hey, in 2 years, I'm going to have this book out kind of thing. But like the thing that the monthly thing for me, that's the worst is like the starting and stopping. Cause like when I do like a graphic novel format thing, you know, like I write the whole script, then I thumbnail the whole book, you know, I pencil the whole book. It's like, and I just like hole up for like 6 months or however long and do it. But like with the monthly stuff, it's like, you can't do that. You have to be like, you know, thumbnail 20 pages, draw 20 pages, do approvals again. Then you're back at thumbnails again, but you're like, I just finished thumbnails. Like, you know, it's like there's always this start and stop, and it really messes with like my groove. Like I can never get into like a groove where I'm just in the zone, because I feel like as soon as I get in the zone, I have to stop and like send in the next proposal or start on thumbnails again or whatever. So I think that's like, cause like, I feel like it's definitely doable to do 20 pages in a month, you know, cause that's like, you know, I can do like a page a day, you know, a week for thumbnails, you know, week for script or whatever. It's like not that hard, but the shifting of gears is what slows it down for me. Like I can't shift gears fast enough to like be like, okay, back to square one, sort of starting this other issue. Yeah, it's really difficult for me.
Are you inking the Turtles as well?
I ink it digitally.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All the current Turtle stuff is digital. I used to do it on paper, and I was thinking about doing this new stuff on paper because that you know, then I can sell it and like it's like getting paid twice. But like, you know, like I don't like there was just no way like also writing it. There's just no way I would do it on paper because like scanning, you know, like takes a long time, and like cleaning up the scan before you work on it. It's, you know, like suddenly you're like, I'm out of ink. You know, like you gotta stop, you gotta drop everything. It's too much. It's too time consuming. So yeah, I do all the current stuff digital.
We've got a visitor behind us here.
Hi. Your 13-year-old's about to get in the pool and he doesn't want.
This is my wife, Elizabeth. We'll just say a quick hello. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. She's back there somewhere.
Hi.
There's Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar was worried you'd be able to see him and Ben in the pool. So.
Yeah. So since I scrambled to switch computers, you know, this is a completely different setup than I usually have here. So it kind of threw us into a little bit of a family panic of what's the situation now. Yeah. So, you know, that brings up an interesting issue that I hadn't really thought about, and that's the whole issue of original art as potential additional income. But but it hadn't crossed my mind the concern of not making deadlines if you take that extra step to make yourself additional income.
Yeah. I mean, some people are really good at, producing original art, like along the, like as they go along. But like, I don't know. For me, like it really slows me down, and I'll try to do like covers traditionally, so I can at least sell some covers. But like as far as interior pages go, it's just like, ugh, it's too much. And then like I end up with these humongous stacks of paper. Like I have a closet in my office that is just stacks and stacks of art that I've like haven't sold, and I'll, I look at that stuff and I'm just like, well, where does it end? Like, I don't know, like all these trees that have been felled and stuff. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't think I don't know if I'll ever do like an entirely traditional book anymore. It's just too much. It's too daunting. And it's, like I said, it's nice getting paid twice. But I don't know. I feel like I make better money on the covers anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like focusing on those. Although there's one Turtles issue I did traditionally a few years back, and there was somebody who bought the entire issue, like all the originals from this one issue. It was like thousands of dollars. And I'm just like, damn, I wish I could do this for every issue. And the same buyer actually came to me when I got this new gig and was just like, hey, I'd love to buy the entirety of issue 101. I'm like, ugh. Like, why didn't I do it traditional? Oh well.
Wow. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's faster, and I think it's just better for my peace of mind, which is important. It's like I don't have to worry about, finding the right kind of paper and scanning everything and getting it cleaned up, and then realize, like I messed up something on the art, so I have to like rescan it or something. Or if they want, or if like Nickelodeon wants like changes or something, it's like that's, a pain in the ass when it's when it's traditional. It's not easy to change because it's on a piece of paper. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, digital's the way to go for me right now. Maybe someday I'll do ink again. I don't know.
Does IDW letter the Turtles books for you?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. And
Yeah,
for
Sean Lee does lettering.
Okay, and for your indie stuff, do you get a letter or do you wind up doing your own lettering?
I do it myself. I have a font that's like based on my lettering style that I had made by Blambot like many years ago.
Do you mind me asking? Do you mind me asking how much it cost to get your own font made?
God, I think it was like a few $100s. I can't remember, but this was back in like 2007 or something. So like I don't know what it is now.
I think if you have the right device, you can do it yourself pretty easy. But I know back then it was a special thing. Yeah.
Like I remember at the time I thought it was a lot of money, but like now I think about it, I'm just like, yeah, it's not like that's extremely reasonable. Like $300 or something. That seems like a great investment to have your own font. I did do hand lettering in my first few books. Like I did it all by hand. I would do it on like these overlays and then scan the overlays separately. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Like, I was just like, I'm all about the craft of comics. I don't care about the craft anymore. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, especially on deadlines, right?
Right, yeah. And like, I don't know, if you make a typo or something when, like back when I was doing hand, like a lettering, I'd have to like manipulate the words in the computer, and try to like, okay, where's another place where like I wrote an F and then grab that F and like stick it in there and stuff. It's just a pain in the ass. Ugh. Yeah. I don't miss that at all.
So, have you done or needed to do for money non-comics art type jobs?
I mean, I worked at that screen printing shop early on. Like I told you, that was not related in any way to comics. And I remember, like I would print shirts and stuff, but I would do like art sometimes. I would, draw like a logo for like a local football team or something. It was stuff like that where it was like very different. I think that was the. There was one year I did character designs for a tabletop miniature game. That was pretty fun. It's not comics, but I guess it's like kind of adjacent because I got to draw like my usual kind of characters. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I've done like I used to do like tabletop RPG like illustration for like White Wolf, like that. But like even that's like kind of adjacent to like the kind of work that I already do. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Some people, they get steady work from a magazine or, doing some kind of illustration or album covers or whatever. I was just curious.
Yeah. I think I'd like to do album covers or something like that at some point. I think that would be pretty fun.
You don't think it'd be the same pressures as the covers we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, you're probably right. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe. It depends on what it is. Yeah, it depends. Because I feel like it would be different because like doing something for an album, it's not gonna have like a specific character that you have to include or specific, like unless it's like a concept album maybe, but like it's not going to have these specific elements that you need to include to like get a story across necessarily. It just has to get across like a tone or a feeling. I feel like that would be something I'd be better at.
Yeah.
So the biggest struggle you've mentioned, I think, has been just kind of deadlines, and I'm curious if when I say what are your struggles in the industry, if other things come up for you that you're dealing with, in the day to day or month to month or whatever.
I feel like the hardest thing, like even harder than deadlines, is just like staying excited and staying on task. Like, there's just so many days where like, I'll wake up and I'll just get like started late, because I'm just messing around on the computer or something, and I'll like look at the clock and like 3 hours have passed and I haven't done anything. Just, I don't know, staying motivated and staying like energetic, I feel like is the hardest part. It doesn't mean that I don't love it. It doesn't mean like I don't love like drawing turtles, for example, but it's, like there's just some days where you don't feel like working, and since I work at home in my pajamas most of the time, it's hard to be like, okay, sit down, I gotta do this much work, I gotta do 1 page at least. And, then, like my parents call on the phone or something, and then I'm like, well, I'll talk to my parents really quick. And then that, becomes a thing. And yeah, it's difficult to stay focused sometimes for me. Like, I don't know if it's like, if I'm just older, or if it's just like a symptom of, being inside working all the time, like you kind of lose like a sense of time. I've tried I've talked to my psychiatrist about like ADD stuff, medication, and it doesn't really do anything. So I don't know. And then, then I wonder if like I'm just really bored, like if that's the problem. And then if I'm really bored, like how do I get excited? How do I make myself excited? And I feel like that's the hardest part, because it's like, at least the deadline, it's like a really specific thing. You can be like, okay, April 25th is the deadline. It's this concrete thing you can wrap your head around. But like staying focused and being excited is a much more like vague, kind of elusive thing, where like you don't, like if you're not focused, like with a deadline, you're like, oh, I'm gonna blow this deadline. Oh, I'll just work faster, or I'll try to take some shortcuts. It's like much more cut and dry. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely the hardest part, is just like trying to stay excited and hold on to that like gusto that I had when I was younger, and just trying to figure out like how to channel that again, and so I can get the work done.